So now that we're finished placing the Braille labels on this model, let's take a look at something a little more complicated. I'm going to grab all of these models and just drag them off to the side. And I've prepared this shark model with some Braille labels. Okay. You may have noticed that I used this kind of square tool over here. Fit view to selected shape is very helpful. If you have a single shape selected, you can kind of quickly jump in to look at that shape closely, and it helps when you're editing. Okay, jumping back out, you can see that I have a shark model here, and I have a series of Braille labels. These are 2 and 3 character labels. The Braille takes up a lot of space on the model, so instead of using an entire spelled out word here, we're going to have to abbreviate everything. So, placing these, I'm just going to try and kind of eyeball this. This model isn't flat like the last models we were working on, so I'm not going to try and hide these surfaces, these kind of plates that the labels are on. I'm going to leave those in and have that be kind of a nice boundary to help identify the Braille label and hopefully make it more readable. So I've kind of just placed it on the side there. You can see I'm leaving the plate intact. I want to move it in just a little bit more, so here I'm going to edit the snap grid. And I just like to use the arrow keys. I don't want any of that pink to show through, but just enough that that label is kind of in there nicely, and it won't be hanging off too much. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat this process with some of the other fins here. And so I'm just dragging this over. I'm going to raise it up. It's not showing quite as much as I want. Here I've set the snap grid at quite a small increment, but I didn't want to have to press the arrow key a whole bunch of times. So if you hold the shift key, it will move in by that increment in a multiple of 10. So I don't want to have to press over and over again to move that. I can go ahead and hold the shift key. Okay, that's an okay placement with that. I might actually rotate this a little bit. And if I pull it outside the circle, I get to more finely tune the rotation. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Another option would be to use the work plane tool to really kind of line this up. But in my mind right now, it seems easier to just kind of look at this and drag the labels on that way. So I'm keeping the label just adjacent to what they're labeling, as I don't want to obscure the item I'm labeling. Okay, looking at this one, this might actually be difficult to read because this fin sticks out here. I'm going to nudge that over. And you can see the pink through it, so I'm going to have to pull that back out a bit. That looks like it might work a little better. This second dorsal fin labeling the top one here, I might put that along the top. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this so that it's kind of lying flat. I think that might help distinguish it from the other labels a little better. So I did 90 there and I did not rotate the right way, so I'm going to do -90. I'm going to put this along the top here. Okay. It's important I don't have any pink kind of showing through parts of this because that will affect the Braille. It could be interpreted as a part of the Braille, or at a minimum be distracting from the Braille label. I want to keep that area clear. So this is kind of hanging off a bit, but I think that's going to be okay. We're using this plate as kind of a distinguisher for those Braille labels, so I don't think it'll be interpreted as part of the animal. So even though I have rotated one of the labels, I don't want to change the orientation of the Braille, really. They're all of these Braille labels are still kind of facing the same direction. What I don't want to do is start to kind of spin the Braille labels this way, where this label might fit a little better, kind of going 90 degrees on this fin here, but that's going to be confusing for the reader, especially so they're going through along the model and they're feeling all the other labels in the same orientation. Having one spun at a degree like that is not going to be easy to interpret. The initial expectation will be that this is Braille, this oriented in the same fashion. They may misread the characters. So I'm going to leave that one kind of sticking out off the edge there, and again I'm using that square plate as a boundary and as kind of a reminder that this is just a label. So now that I have all my labels placed, I'm just going to select everything in this model, use Command G to group them all, Control G if you're using Windows, and there's my shark model with the labels.